Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar, or Babasaheb Ambedkar, as he is popularly called now, was a towering personality who steered the Constituent Assembly that wrote the central law book of India and left a huge footprint on India as a nation.
Our difficulty, as I said, is not about the ultimate future. Our difficulty is how to make the heterogeneous mess that we have today take a decision in common and march in a cooperative way on that road which is bound to lead us to unity.
When a group of interpret reformers began fighting the British colonizers and trying to wrest India free from a coercive foreign rule of more than 100 years, there was one man who did something even more revolutionary. If trying to eject the British was a courageous task that only a brave heart could undertake, fighting the caste system was akin to finding a pervasive ghost. Only a maverick would do that. The founding fathers of the first Indian government picked just this eclectic figure to take up the task of writing the Constitution of India. In a time when it's difficult to get endorsement from young millennials, Dr. Ambedkar is a figure that is invoking renewed admiration and adulation.
Well, we are talking about the legacy of a very great man, a founding father of the Constitution of India, and a man who understood that rising and persistent inequalities will pose fundamental challenges to the economic and social well-being of nations and people. His work on the empowerment and inclusion of excluded groups, on the reform of the labour laws of India, and the promotion of education for all made him an icon for the poor and marginalised people in India and in other countries. The ideals for which he worked so hard are as relevant today as they were when the Indian Constitution was signed into law. What will it take to achieve the vision of the man whose life we honour today? Well, Dr. Ambedkar had a deep understanding of the far-reaching measures which are needed to reduce inequalities. Today, as when he lived and wrote, all countries have work to do. On behalf of UNDP, I commend India on celebrating this important anniversary here at the United Nations.
As Dr. Babasaheb himself said, we can measure the progress of a community by the degree of progress which women have achieved. With connectivity and digital skills, anyone, anywhere in the world can create and innovate to improve his or her well-being and by extension, that of humanity. That is why we need to share and transfer technologies.
I would like first to thank the Mission of India for organizing this very enlightening function. It is heartening to know that all efforts are taken to keep alive the spirits of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar alive. In Kenya, his thoughts and ethos on constitutionalism were also very key in the promulgation of our constitution in 2010, especially on the issue of affirmative action for marginalized communities, women, girls, children, and older persons. It was also very key because many lawyers in Kenya actually are graduates from Indian universities. And that brings me to my point. Personally, for me, it is an extreme joy to be sitting in the United Nations and talking about Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, because a little over 19 years ago, I graduated from the Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar College of Law, Nagpur University, with an LLB degree. Thank you. After a 5-year course, of which I remember in college there was his famous quote, which paraphrased means, it doesn't matter how good a constitution is, if it is run by bad people, it will be bad. And it doesn't matter how bad a constitution is, if it is run by good people, it will be good. that has been is something that keeps me alive, and I just wanted to thank and look forward to many more of these functions. I do thank you, sir.
I'm from Nepal. Nepal promulgated its constitution 2 years ago, and it's very timely to refer to that. And Nepal is a multi-ethnic country where there are 100+ ethnicities and as many languages. And throughout the constitution-making process of 10 years of this process, the thoughts, vision of Dr. Ambedkar has been truly inspirational, and we are very grateful for him, and it's a encouragement for all of us.
I both know how much the legacy and the life of Dr. Ambedkar means to every Indian, but also to anyone who has looked at the history of development, of the rights of those normally are often excluded, the role of justice and the law, and not least also through the life that Dr. Ambedkar led as part of the drafting of the Constitution of India, then as First Minister of Law, to that understanding of what it means to build a nation in which those who are privileged do not take this as a right and those who are underprivileged do not take it as a fate.
Mobile phone connectivity is facilitating social and financial inclusion of hundreds of millions of Indians. Digital money transactions through a low-cost Bharat interface for money, BHIM, BHIM, mobile application is proceeding at a fast pace. This is symbolic of present-day India's acknowledgement of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar's vision of inclusivity. More power to Bhim is now more than a slogan in India.
Born in the family of an untouchable, B.R. Ambedkar rises to become the chairman of India's Constitution Drafting Committee. And this is really the poetry of an inspired constitution crafting project. For Dr. Ambedkar brought with him the finesse of being the leading political theorist of his time, the technical rigor that twin doctoral degrees from LSE and Columbia brought, and the confidence of a lawyer already called to the bar. For me, Bhimrao Ambedkar taught me better to imagine my constitution's country, the Constitutional Democratic Republic of India.
And thank you for the opportunity to speak about this very important topic and to honor the principal architect of India's constitution and his progressive views. I think he was well beyond his years and his time, and it's very great to hear what he was pushing even way back then.
To observe the anniversary of Dr. Ambedkar. And we know that he was the man who has given India a very forward-looking constitution that really recognized the importance of integrating women in the mainstream development process.
And I think we might also remember that a visionary like him is often at odds with the people and the context in which they work. And I think those of us who are often involved in pushing the boundaries might recognize those conditions and take heart from Dr. Ambedkar's experience that you can still have a lasting legacy, even if people tell you you're wrong at the time.
Thank you very much for that. We should have many more events like this in the UN, I think.